So Joshua, we're going to start with you. Biggest issues and challenges you're facing right now. Like, where are the problems at?
Figuring out how I'm going to structure everything. I guess going through those trainings is kind of blowing my mind a little bit on where I'm supposed to be acting. The other thing that's been going on is with the bookkeeping shit that I got into, I need to get out, and because I've been emailing them back and forth and they keep pushing me off. I guess they're supposed to have it all squared up by September 1st, but I think at that meeting I'm just going to tell them, well, give me my passwords back, give me my books back, I'll figure it out myself, because it's been almost a month and a half now and I haven't gotten anything.
Okay.
Basically, so.
Okay, well, what are some other areas that you're struggling in though?
I guess consistency wise, keeping that flowing correctly, and then staying in the shop. I keep seeing these outside things that need to get done and keep going, trying to do those instead of focusing in the shop.
Okay. So where's a primary, we look at this chart here, where's the majority of your focus been? What area?
Focusing more on the profit and protection side when I need to be more into probably the power side yet.
Okay. So even there, man. And you see that in your stacks too, Josh. Like you always come back to that. Always come back to that. Okay. But the reason I'm sharing all of this, and I'm going to ask some of you other guys too, where you're at as far as with all these things and challenges and things that you're dealing with and where your focus has been. The problem is though, is that if we don't, Josh, you're wanting to go out and build a business. You're still trying to figure out stuff on the farm and shit like that. But here's the deal though, like we still haven't solidified this over here. And I'm not beating you down, dude. I'm not even doing that at all with you, because the reality is we're trying to rewire some habits over here and this takes some time.
Yeah.
Like you've been in since January?
Yeah, late January, early February, something like that.
Okay. Well, and that's where it's just going to take some time, man, and a consistency and habits, because you've been the way you've been operating that way for how long?
30 years or more.
So it takes time to break that stuff down. Tony Terry, how about you? Where's the majority of your focus been at?
I'm still trying to get through the power part. It's a hard wait. Hold on a sec. So he's trying to call me here. Let me get him. It's been a challenge because I want to go right to the profit. And so we're patient. We're trying to go through the steps, but the last 2 weeks I've had trouble just even doing the power, just because I've been sidetracked. But my biggest issue is, and I almost did a hot seat on this a couple of weeks ago, is I'm having trouble with people taking me serious, and it's driving me batshit crazy. Okay. I've been doing this for 25 years, and everybody calls me buddy, and I've got a bad habit of everybody being my best friend. But yeah, I just have trouble getting people to take me serious.
Anybody else struggle with this? Okay. Why do you think people struggle taking you serious, Tony?
Well, I think it's because I always try to be their best friend instead of going in there and knocking out. And my example is I had to take a truck and get it cut down so I could haul almonds and walnuts. And I brought the truck to the guy 2.5 months ago. I said, I need it by August 1st. And the guy dicked the dog, and I had to go take it out of his shop and bring him somewhere else. Like, he didn't take me serious. And so I'm struggling with that big time.
Okay, perfect. So do you think this is an issue with everybody else, or do you think it's a Tony issue?
Well, I feel like it's just a Tony issue, because when you look at the outside, all my neighbors, it appears that their life is going perfect.
Yep, 100%. So how does it make you feel though when people are just sitting there and you don't feel like they're taking you as serious as you would like them to? How does that make you feel?
Like maybe I shouldn't be in business.
Okay. Because are you the town that you guys live in? How long have you lived there?
My family's been here for 60 years.
Okay. So you've grown up there and everything.
Yes.
So again, it goes back to this common struggle that we all face, and where you know, Tony goes around that town, and how old are you now?
46.
And you see some of the old timers, and is it the old timers that are calling you buddy?
No, it's people my age, and it irritates the shit out of me. It's like going to a restaurant and the waiter calling me boss. I hate that.
And so it still goes back to they knew Tony back when he was 20.
Yeah. Yep.
So it goes back to the fact that all of you on here, all of you struggle with this. And Tony, like, I'm no different than you. Like, when I go back to Tribune, Kansas, where I grew up, people there, they act like they've known me for a long time, or that I'm still not, they have known me for a long time, but they act like I'm still the same guy that I was back when I was 18 or 16 or whatever it is.
Yep.
Right. So what are some tactical things that Tony can do to start changing and setting standards on how people are viewing you and talking to you?
I don't know. The only thing I can think of is, from a business perspective, is in this situation example that I gave, I guess I need to be more stern about what I need. And I don't know. I don't have that answer.
Okay. Where are these situations happening the most? Happening when you're talking to people on the phone because Tony's the nice guy that's got to answer every phone call that comes in? Are they happening out?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I'm the nice guy. I get fucked on every business deal that I do because I'm the nice guy, and that's it.
Okay. So it goes back to like simply controlling your environment. So let's think tactically here, because right now it's pretty easy to get access to Tony, right?
Yep.
Anybody can call you. Everybody in that town probably has your phone number, right?
Yep. Yep.
How do I know all this? Okay, so what are some tactical things Tony could do that actually starts separating himself from a bunch of the noise and things like that? Because when people are talking to you like that, in that way, I know deep down how it makes you feel as a man.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I just need to focus on Tony and what I'm doing and ignore the unimportant shit.
Okay. But again, though, that's good higher level. What are some tactical things we can do to make that happen?
Change my environment.
Okay. How do you change your environment?
I don't know.
Okay. When you look at your phone, okay, how many people, like, is there, out of all the calls you've gotten in the past year, how many of them are from the same person?
Probably quite a few.
Yeah, be a majority of them. Probably 95% of them are from literally the same 5 people.
Yeah.
Most likely your family, right? And basically that's about it. Everybody else is just kind of a distraction, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So how big of a deal would it be if you literally changed your phone number?
I've thought about it.
No, I'm serious, Tony. Like, it's exactly what I did, because everybody in Tribune had my number. Like, it was back in 2017 where I was like, I'm done with this shit. And I deleted everybody off Facebook. I changed my phone number. Best decision I ever made, because guess how many people I still actually talk to? Just the important ones. My parents, Rachel, my brother, my sister. That's it.
Yeah. Wow. That's heavy.
Why is it heavy, though? It's just literally all you're doing is changing a phone number. So what's heavy?
Yeah. I don't know. I just, that's heavy. It'd be easy to change my phone number, but it'd be hard having the thought of not being available. I'm not saying it's bad and it's not a good idea, but it's just the way it's been for the last 30 years has been a certain way. And
you kind of feel like a dick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. But at the same time, though, this is one simple question that all of you guys can really ask to really, figure out what in your life is actually working versus what's not. Is just like simple question. Does it serve me or does it not? Because the majority of the phone calls that you get, Tony, do they serve you or do they take away from you?
Take away for sure.
100%. So that's where we can drop all the emotional attachment to the small town vibes and having the same phone number and not controlling our environment and letting everybody just have access to it. When it doesn't serve me, you're gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
No guilt, no shame, new choices. And you may have to stack this too, Tony, but I got to get that. This is so key for all of you guys, because all of you are just like me, whereas you grew up in the same freaking town, same people, everybody has your number, like, and everybody has access to you. And for example here, Andy, who's on my team, he's not on the call. He just recently moved from Minnesota over to North Dakota. I can't remember where, at Billings maybe. And anyways, like, he's going through the same thing right now. The exact same thing. He feels this guilt and this weight because he feels like he abandoned his hometown. Totally get it. But the problem was, is over like last week or something, he had people texting him and they were kind of like belittling him. Saying, oh, you abandoned us, or you changed, or whatever it may be. Well, at that point, does that person really serve you?
No.
No. Not at all.
Yeah.
So changing your phone number, one, it takes about 30 minutes because I've done it twice now. Making sure Mary Ann has your new number, right, so she can get hold of you. But past that, there's really not too many people you're honestly going to be talking to.
Yeah.
Or if they do need to talk to you, guess what? It can wait.
Yeah. Yep.
And the other thing too, like the people that do need to talk to you, they're going to, if they really need to talk to you, they're going to find your phone number.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then those are most likely people that are going to serve you though.
Right.
Everybody else just goes to the wayside. Anybody else feel the same thing that Tony does on a regular basis, or dealing with the same issue? No? Tony's the only one? I know for a fact it's other people. Okay. So all of you guys, when I talk about being tactical, like, it's great to stack things. It's great to work through that process. You guys need to work through that process, but there's got to be something tactical at the end of every stack. Here's the issue. What am I going to do tactically to solve this freaking thing? Make sense for everybody? Okay. All right. So Tony, that's a good action item for you for sure. Needs to get that changed. Okay. Jamie, I'll bring you up. Out of everything on this page right now, where's been the primary area of focus for you, and where have you been struggling?
The primary focus the last 2 months has just been me working on my balance and being struggling, just starting to reorganize everything as far as business, starting to get things set up and looking into changing things. I don't know.
Never really heard it explained that way, have you?
No.
Makes logical sense though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's another big shift for a lot of you guys, for sure. You're gonna be going through that.
Yeah.
Okay,
I look at that page and look at the list and realize how much shit I need to get done.
Yeah. And it's the unsexy work, isn't it?
Yes.
And that's
it's the place I don't like to be, which is sitting here at my desk. So.
Yep. Like to be out doing what you love to do, right? But the thing is too, is like, has anybody ever found a quick fix to success, or like quick results? No. And I don't promise that when you guys come in here. It's like, no, we got tactical stuff we're going to do. You want the business organized. You want to get things profitable. You want to become a marketer. Like, it's a lot of legwork, and there's a lot of hard work that goes into it. There's no quick fixes or quick shortcuts. And the biggest issue that we're going to have to battle with in trying to get a guy to build a successful business or put these things together, Jamie, is what?
Get organized. Know where the hell we're at.
Yeah. It's a being issue though.
Yeah.
That's what it always falls back to. And that's why the stack is so critical for you guys. Because again, like the entire, like, it took me, Jamie, how long do you think it took me to go through and create all that coursework?
I don't even want to guess.
It's a long time. And that shit, you guys are just going through and doing it. You want to talk about the amount of boredom it was putting it together and like literally thinking through the entire process and really, really getting that thing fine-tuned. It took a long time, right? But at the same time though, me going through that, it honestly made me start thinking differently about the business and more systemized and things like that. So it was beneficial to me too. But Jamie, how many of you guys, All of you have access to it. How many of you, Jamie, do you think will actually go through and complete it though?
Not very many.
Why not?
Get bored or sidetracked.
So isn't it crazy how we pay for these tools? We pay for things throughout life. It doesn't matter what it is. A lot of us, we've invested tens of thousands, some of you hundreds of thousands of dollars into tools or networks or resources or whatever it may be for the operation, things like that. Yet we only use about 20% of them because we buy this thing thinking it's going to be sexy and it's going to be fun and it's going to provide massive results. And then you come to figure out like, oh, it's not really that exciting. And I'd rather go do something that's more interesting.
Yeah.
But how true is it, Eric Bream, how true is it that the unsexy work is the work that gives you an edge up on the game?
I think it's very true, and I talked about this last week too. It's all of those, when you do that stuff, it removes all of those monkeys off of your back and it frees you up in ways that I can't even explain in a lot of respects.
Yep. But it's not flashy though.
No, it sucks.
It's not like you're doing anything like that that's awesome.
No, and it's not fun. I kind of had this conversation with Josh yesterday. We were talking about basically estate planning and how hard those conversations are to have with your family. I mean, I just went through it last year. It sucks when you're looking your parents and the rest of your family members in the eye, and you're talking frankly about financial stuff and death and things like that. It's not fun. That was probably one of the most heart-wrenching things I've been through, but I just look at it like it is a necessary thing if I'm going to continue to reach my goals.
Yeah. If you're going to pass on anything, it has to be done.
Yeah. And it sucks. It's not a fun process.
So I have cousins back in Tribune that they are like the third biggest farmers in the county. So they own a lot of ground and things like that. But the dad is the one that owned all the ground. And the thing is that so you have these two parents, right? We're both in their 90s. Wife passes away. Nothing is set up. Literally, there's no estate plan, nothing. There's 3 kids. There's about 20,000 acres on the line there. And there's no game plan set up. Why do you think they avoided setting it up, Eric?
Because nobody wants to have those conversations. And, it's typical, I learned a lot through the process and did a lot of reading. And it's really about just family structure, family dynamics, the way agriculture and the culture of agriculture works, that we don't talk about these things and everybody kind of avoids them. When my dad passed, we went through something somewhat similar. On his personal stuff, he didn't have anything set up, and I still have heartburn over it today because it's causing problems 6 years later with my mom. Yep. And I refuse to make my kid go through that. That's part of it. I want, and it takes some really open and frank conversations that make people uncomfortable.
Yeah. And that's when you're going to find out who the true people are that actually really care. Jay, what do you, go ahead, Jay. I'll unmute you here.
So it'll make it, here's my situation. We have a family corporation. So there's 8 of us. I've got 2 sisters, 3 cousins, and 2 grandparents. So before my grandfather passed away, I forced the conversation during a shareholder meeting. Look, here's what I would like to see happen. This is what I want to see things move forward. And I'll tell you what it caused. It forced a lawsuit is what it did. I'm now in the process of it, not technically speaking, it's not a lawsuit, but it helped the entire family to see the true colors of my cousins and what their intentions are. And they're now blaming me for disrupting the legacy of their late father, which they're so out of tune with agriculture. And I worked every day with that man. he was like a best friend to me. And for them to tell me that I'm not following in his legacy, they're the ones that are mistaken. And again, it shows the true color. And I've got an all-out war on my hands of what we're working with. But I'm so blessed in knowing through it all that because of things were set up correctly to begin with by my father and my uncle and my grandparents, that, you know, now my sisters and I have a super majority, and we kind of control the whole thing, and they can threaten us and spend all kinds of money at lawyers, and there's not a whole lot they can do about it.
Yep. Yep. So that was obviously
Get
a
your ducks
big,
in a row.
oh, it sucks 100%. But that was
Get
like,
your ducks in a row.
that was a huge, massive thing that you took on, massively uncomfortable, right? At that level, but it exposed their true colors. Now, like Tony with you, it's the same thing. Changing your phone number, like it's going to expose the people that actually care about Tony, want to have conversations with Tony and genuine conversations. So it's the same thing at a small scale as it is the big scale. Obviously the uncomfortability is going to increase, you know, the bigger risk you have there, but it's still the same concept. And people do not like to be exposed. And that's what's tough about like you guys coming in here. A lot of you have been exposed over and over and over again. Faults, things I'm thinking of differently or the wrong way, mistakes I've made. You can see them through your guys' stacks. Like you're just exposing the truth more and more. I've been through obviously the same stuff, but then you recognize that the world is pretty small for the people that are actually being their honest self out in public. And your circle of friends, oh boy, it gets really, really small. You guys are honestly my best friends. I'll tell you that much. So, okay, but Jay's like not joking. In the family, our cousins back in Tribune, like I said, that mom died a few years ago. Those kids started, I mean, they're suing each other because there's two brothers there farming 10,000 acres apiece. They all want their fair share. And now there's lawsuits in Tribune, Kansas, town of 900 people. So this is just what happens when you don't do the unsexy work, whether it's book work, whether it's estate planning, whether it's studying entity structure and design, whether it's understanding tax laws. That stuff is unsexy. But when I look at all the mentors I've hired, the really successful ones, that's the stuff they know like the back of their hand. And they know it through and through, and they will become obsessed with it because they figured out that business is not hype. It's not hype. Like the way you build a successful business is no sexy, actions or game plan or things like that. Like the tools that I provide you guys here, pretty simple in nature, pretty simple tools. They took a while to think through and come up with and really build out. And I spent a lot of money with other mentors and learning how to put all this together. But at the end of the day, there's nothing sexy about them. There's nothing sexy about doing a stack. You're going to work on yourself when you're doing a stack. There's nothing sexy about getting an entity set up and learning more about entity structure and tax structure, but you kind of got to have that stuff set up. Otherwise, when the tax man comes around and you're not prepared for it, guess who's getting screwed over? IRS is going to get their money one way or another. Entity structure and design. Man, it's so much different for me knowing for a fact that my entire game plan is set up that if I were to die tomorrow, Rachel and the girls completely taken care of. Making sure wealth is protected going forward, completely taken care of. Could sleep a lot better at night. And here's what's crazy. Josh, I'll use you as an example again. When we're looking at this, and I can't remember if we've really talked about this or not. Okay, but when you think, when you have power in place, what does power ultimately fuel?
Profit.
Okay. Okay, but what's the next stage though? What's the next stage?
After power or
Yeah.
production?
Okay, because if you're in power and you're trying to build aura repair, for example, and you're trying to build out a marketing message, if you're not in power, you're not going to turn on your phone and do what you need to do as far as marketing goes. It's just the reality, right? So each one of these things fuels the other. Production is going to step forward and it's going to fuel profit. It's pretty cool when you have production in place and you're making money, and now we get to step in to this work right here. Okay, but again, we go back to 2012 when a majority of farmers and ranchers were making a shit ton of money. Production was at an all-time high. But what was the downfall for them, Josh? Why did so many guys make so much money in 2012 and then lose everything 2013, 2014, 2015?
They didn't know how to handle profit.
Yeah. This system was broken. It wasn't sexy. What was sexy was talking about, hey, I just ordered three new John Deere combines. Yeah, they're coming in. Now I'm going to put them in this new $600,000 shop I'm putting up. And I have living quarters inside of that shop too. And I also didn't pay the government any taxes. Look at me. Whereas the people that were true business owners, they're sitting here and they're just staying quiet. They're going into the office that they've had the past 30 years. They're doing the unsexy bookkeeping, accounting, and tax strategy. They're saying, okay, great. We just made $500,000 this year. $8 corn will do that to you, right? Or $13 wheat will do that to you. But what are we going to do with it? How can we make sure we're protecting it? We got taxes that we're going to have to pay on it. What are the investments that we do need to make? How do we make sure that we're putting away some of this money because we know the bad years are going to come? They react objectively. They're looking at the entire picture. They know it's not going to go on forever. So now what are we doing to plan and make sure that we're getting things in place so that we're good to go when things do go bad again, because they will go bad. But you see the difference in the type of person though. Anybody can be like, you can get lucky through power and production. Like you can get those two things based on luck. If I'm making a lot of money, you can bet your ass I'm in power. Like I'm motivated, I'm working out, I'm doing all these things. But once you take, or, when you do have those two things in place, the difference in the person that's going to be successful versus the person who's going to lose it all, Josh, is what?
Consistency.
Yeah. Well, it's not even that, man. Because what's a good term for it? Back in 2012, every bad farmer was making money too. Like you could have been the worst freaking farmer, you were making money, right? It's like, it was a home run for everybody. Back in 2006, 2007, all these guys were talking about selling real estate and real estate's where it's at and everything like that. Every real estate person was making a killing because real estate was just, what's called a one-hit wonder. You're making money because the market prices are going up. Not because you're a good business owner, but because the market prices are going up. And so what I mean by that is you can accomplish power and production being a one-hit wonder. Market prices are going up, production is up, you're making money, you're in power because of this. But what separates, right, the one-hit wonders, Josh, from the successful guys that actually have long-term success?
Their accounting, how they handle their books.
Dude, all of this stuff right here, all of this stuff. And it's not sexy, but again, one-hit wonders, they're all flash. They're all look at me, look how sexy I look how awesome this is, versus the real players. They're like, okay, I get you, young man. Cool. Nice new combine. That's awesome. Congratulations. New building. Awesome. Congratulations. But let me tell you something. Not paying any money in taxes this year when you just made 500 grand, I promise you it's going to come back to bite you in the ass because you're buying shit you don't need. And while you're over there buying all this flash and stuff, I'm in the office working on my books, working on accounting, making sure entities are set up. We're paying attention to our key metrics inside of our business. And I'm also focusing on like legal, insurance planning, estate planning, and then investment strategy, honestly. And this is about taking the income from the farm that I'm making money with, and where can I put it at that it's going to produce more for me without me having to work for it? Passive. Like, see the difference between the type of men here? So, Paul Osmondson, what's coming up for you as you guys do this? Because I know Lindsay's going through the program and getting entities and everything structured for you guys.
Yeah, just trying to get it set up right and continuing to work on power. And then production, I mean, like I can't even get to profit and protection yet. It's like trying to get everything set up to get to marketing, you know, and not even to advertising yet. I mean, my Facebook page doesn't have enough information there to go to advertising. And it's like in putting that information in, and that's my goal for today, is go around, take pictures of past jobs and continue doing that. She's getting the website ready to fire up. And but then yesterday she had a huge day of setting up the LLCs and trying to get that figured up, which thank goodness I have her for doing that. But so really wanting to get to the profit and production and investment strategies long term. So
Yeah, but it's just there's a roadmap to get there.
yeah.
You got to have all these things in place as we go through this, right? So Tim Binsman, same question to you. What's coming up for you as we talk about this and go through this? What stage are you in?
Working on power mainly.
Mhm.
Production some. I don't know. It's fall of the year around here, and we're just starting the corn silage season. So trucks are crazy. Trucks are crazy busy, but once that's over, it's keeping everybody busy to get through winter. It's going to be a struggle.
Okay, so that's where we're going to the profit conversation, right? Like trucks are making a pile of money right now. I know it's done very well for you the past year. That's why
Right.
your ass needs to be in the office. Yeah, you're working on power, but you're also, the other primary focus is profit and getting these
Yep.
set up.
Yeah. The coronavirus killed a lot of businesses, but it was very helpful for the trucking company.
Yep.
And I was blessed with having cattle marketed to protect those. So when the cattle prices fell to hell, I was still selling cattle at a decent price. And then whenever they fell to hell, I was able to buy cheap cattle. And now we're in an up market and working on getting those protected as well.
Yep. 100%.
But it's kind of weird because I feel like I started all this stuff not knowing any of what you put together. And I had no power. I was over here trying to be in production and profit mode, and I had no power. I had no self-awareness. I was just like out lost in la la land. And it really wasn't very profitable until I joined the academy side of things and started being aware of what I needed to do as a person, me individually, in order to grow my team and put forth what they need to know so we can grow as a team.
And
So
that's the unsexy work, right? And like, so even back in 2012, if we go back to that example, everybody in that time frame, they had production on lock. Like it was great for everybody. It was a one-hit wonder. They were making money because all market prices were up, but they didn't
Right.
have power. And inside of power, you just talked about awareness. When you're making a pile of money and you have no awareness, what's that ultimately a recipe for?
going broke because I was headed there.
Disaster.
I was one of those guys trying to be sexy, and probably
Yep.
bought a tractor I shouldn't have, and it's like, son of a brick, now I got to pay for this thing, and it's the prices fell to hell, and now what am I going to do? And it was definitely a struggle for a couple of years, and that's the main reason I started Academy almost a year ago, just because I didn't know where else to go. Like, something's got to happen. We got to make changes. This ain't working.
Yep.
And me and Dad got in a couple heated arguments, and he always said, something's got to change. I was like, well, no shit, something's got to change because this ain't working.
Yep.
So
when you don't have all these things in place, and you don't even have a chart like this to look back to. Josh, for example, like me asking you, okay, where are we off right now? Like I have to have this. I do the same thing inside of my business. I'll literally write this stuff up on my board, and up above it, I say, okay, where are the problems at right now? I have to have containers. I have to have these things to look at to see, okay, where are the holes at? Where have I been failing? Because it's not like you just go through this once and then it's just lovey-dovey, right? Josh, the hardest part is consistency, right? And building this in for the long game. And the long game is unsexy work. Doing this day after day after day after day. Putting time on your calendar to go study your entity structure, putting time on your calendar to go read up on S corps and why they're taxed a certain way, and really understanding that stuff. Like, it's just a level of importance. Going out and driving the tractor, it's sexy, but if you're driving a tractor, you know deep down you're putting a crop on the ground that's going to lose you X amount of dollars per acre, and you're working for negative cash flow right now. How good does that make you feel? Yeah, kind of like shit. Okay, perfect. Anybody else want to add some insights or anything like that? Otherwise, we'll get started into today's hot seat. Anybody got anything? Okay. Kevin, are you on here with us? Let me get you unmuted here.